Hanging in with us from the Newsmax newsroom. Give us the legal take and the political take of what's going on with Rick Perry.
Well, the legal take is he's been charged by the local prosecutor with an abuse of power under Texas law. That's the legal of it. He's been charged. His lawyers have filed a motion to have the case thrown out on the grounds that the statute that was used to charge him is invalid. So that's the legal side of it. The political side of it is this is an age-old problem, and that is that political actions are not always pretty. The exercise of political power against your political enemies is sometimes viewed as abusive, but in the history of our country, the remedy for that alleged abuse has always been the ballot box. That if the voters are unhappy with what the governor did, he did it in the open, everybody knew he did it, they can vote him out. This is not something that a local prosecutor should take into their hands and try to solve by themselves.
Well, we talk about the politics of it, politics not being very pretty. What about the politics there in Travis County, in Austin and its environs, because this is the place where a county prosecutor went after former House Republican leader Tom DeLay, and eventually Tom DeLay resigned his seat in Congress, though I believe later on those charges were overturned. You have some pretty how could I put it, some rather prominent politics being played with the legal system there in Travis County, do you not?
Well, it certainly appears that way. I'm sure the prosecutor would say, no, I made this decision on the merits. The legislature of the state of Texas enacted this law for a reason, and the reason was to prevent exactly this sort of behavior, and so I'm just upholding the law as enacted by the legislature. That's what the prosecutor would say, but it certainly looks to the outside world like there's something a little bit strange here. It seems to be a stretch to bring this sort of a case as a criminal case and not as letting the political arena take care of it.
Bruce, from your training in law school to your time as a federal prosecutor, the whole notion of prosecutorial discretion. I mention that in view of what happened with this case, where opponents of Perry and those who have brought this action are quick to point out, hey, Republican appointed judges and Republican affiliated legal folks allowed us to move forward with this. Is there ever a situation where prosecutorial discretion is needed, and we only have about have a minute to answer this, maybe less now, as I try to formulate the question, but should there have been discretion, understanding that the political process is the ultimate remedy?
Well, the prosecutor would say that they did exercise their discretion, and in their discretion they opted to bring the case because they felt it was more than just mere politics. Oftentimes, though, prosecutors will take that position because it's easier for them to bring the case and let the jury or the judge throw it out, and then they can just say, well, we brought the case, the jury decided it, it's not our fault one way or the other. So it's a bit of covering your backside by the prosecutor.
Bruce Reinhart, the politics and the realities of law, we thank you for taking us through the Rick Perry case from your perspective very much.
Always happy to be here. Thank you, JP.
Now let's move along. Federal estate taxes, how can you reduce them? Here's today's Max to Money report.
You're watching Max to Money.
We've all heard it. Death and taxes are the only two certainties in life. You can't avoid death, but it's worth exploring how to lower your estate taxes so you can limit Uncle Sam's piece of the pie.
If you've been successful enough to accumulate a substantial amount of assets, you can lower or eliminate your estate taxes. There's a lot of ways to do it. It requires sophisticated planning. You have to coordinate with your CPA and your legal advisor, but effectively there are ways to get assets out of your estate at substantial discounts and avoid paying millions of dollars down the road.
The benefits and the detriments of the various techniques vary depending on the individual circumstances of the persons using them. It's important to huddle with your financial advisors and your attorney to figure out the best plan for you, whether that includes gifting, transferring your money, and/or creating a trust. I'm Hannah Ostapchuk.
Get more money news at Newsmax.com.